And unless anyone has an objection, I would consider convening our regular meeting. Is that acceptable? Well,
Yes.
so what I will do then is call to order the regular meeting of the Mayor and Seaside Park County Motion held on Thursday, January 16th, 2025. It's scheduled to begin at the conclusion of the work session meeting, which has now just ended. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 3rd, 2025. Notice of the meeting of the governing body also has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Here.
Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Here.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Peterson?
Here.
Thank you.
And let us all now rise for a moment of silence to be followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Those are the minutes December 19th, 2024, a work session, December 19th, 2024, a regular meeting, and January 2nd, 2025, reorganization meeting. Are there questions, comments from council, or if not, a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion for approval by Councilmember Kraft,
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
second by Councilmember Anfield. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And next are ordinances. First is a first reading and introduction, ordinance 2025-01, amending chapter 200 of the Code of the Borough of Seaside Park entitled Development Regulations to regulate the placement of backup electric generators within a side yard setback. This came about as per discussion on past work sessions and from the recommendation from the planning board, their research and work on the issue with their council and engineer. Any comments from council, or if not, a motion for first reading?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is a first reading introduction, ordinance 2025-02, amending section 200-11 of the Code of the Borough of Seaside Park entitled Application and Review Fees Escrow Deposits to increase review fee escrow deposits in particular. This too had come about as a result of work throughout the past year and input from various sources in the borough family, if you will, from the planning board, its engineer, its attorney, as well as the clerk's office, the administrator's office, and the CFO, and comparisons of, in particular, the escrow fees required in Seaside Park and some of the procedures related thereto. So with the recommendation of the planning board after the review process had started, this is now first reading. Any other questions, comments from council, or if not, a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
I'll second it, Mayor.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call.
Councilmember Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are authorizations. I'll read in summary fashion. The first, the Cupid's Chase 5K race date February 8, 2025, time 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., location Seaside Park Boardwalk, Porter Avenue to C Street. Second, Berkeley Striper Club general meetings. Those are February 5th, March 1, April 2nd, May 7th, June 7th, September 6th, October 1, November 5th, December 6th, 7 to 10 p.m. in the council chambers. Third, the Berkeley Striper Club Fisherman's Flea Market, date of May 3rd, rain date May 4th, time 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the Marina lawn. And the fourth and final is Seaside Park Republican Club monthly meetings, third Tuesday of the month, 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. location council chambers. Any questions, comments from council as to any of the authorizations?
I have a comment on the Cubits Chase 5K.
Yes.
Seaside Park is not listed as additionally insured. Seaside Heights is, but Seaside Park is not. It's listed, that would be typically in the description of operation, not present.
Yeah. Because part of that race is in Seaside Park on the map, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should list both, or at least for us. Seaside Park.
And could we have then, we'll reach out to them immediately if it's approved with that condition. Any other questions, comments on any of the authorizations?
Mayor, also on B and C for the Berkeley Striper Club, their COI is 4/14/24 to 4/14/25. So that needs to be, the approval needs to be conditioned upon getting a certificate that's going to run through December 31, 2025. And with regard to D, the Republican Club, their certificate runs from 7/21/24 to 7/21/25. It says third Tuesday of the month, they would have to supply a follow-up certificate that runs through December 31 of 2025, if they're going to have meetings after July. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other questions, comments from council? If not, we would consider a motion which would have the 4 different conditions and amendments with A, the need to add Seaside Park listed as an additional insured, B and C, the need for the COI to be demonstrated and show documentation for insurance coverage up to December 31, 2025, and the same for D, the need to supply an amended COI showing insurance coverage up to December 31, 2025. So there are those conditions if there's a motion for approval. Do we
Make
have,
the motion, Mayor.
pardon me? We have a motion then by Councilmember Kraft, a second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes on A, B, and C. I'm going to abstain on D as I submitted that use of facilities.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
Thank you. Item 8 is payments of claims, 22555, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the check register bill list for the period January 3rd to January 16th, 2025. Any questions, comments from council, or if not, a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by
Second that.
Councilmember Kraft, seconded by Council President Wilk. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next are the resolutions. I'll read in summary fashion. 56, authorizing the submission of a local recreational improvement 2025 grant application to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. 57, authorizing execution of a professional service agreement with Millennium Strategies LLC for the provision of grant consulting services. 58, authorizing Remington Burnick Engineers to provide professional engineering services for 225 floodplain management services and review and CRS recertification services. 59, authorizing the sale of a Borough 2009 Ford Expedition vehicle to the Seaside Park Volunteer Fire Company Number 1 for nominal consideration. 60, approving the alcoholic beverage control social affair permit for Patalana Foundation, Inc. 61, authorizing 2025 raffle license applications. 62, authorizing the designated miscellaneous refund for permit fees. 63, authorizing the reimbursement of designated water and sewer utility accounts. 64, appointing should be Class 1, as per the amended revised agenda and revised resolution, Class 1 law enforcement officers for the year 2025. 65, authorizing the extension of a shared services agreement with the Borough of Seaside Heights for the provision of chief financial officer services. 66, suspending paid parking for Clean Ocean Action at the 40th Annual Spring Beach Sweeps to be held Saturday, April 12, 2025, and the Fall Beach Sweeps scheduled for Saturday, October 18, 2025. 67, confirming the appointment of James Clayton as Code Enforcement Officer and designated the salary in accordance with the Salary Ordinance 222-23. 68, authorizing CME Associates to provide professional engineering services for municipal marina breakwater improvements as per the work session discussion. Any comments from council on any of the resolutions? Hearing none, it's been our practice to allow any public comments on resolutions, although it's not required by statute. If anyone has a comment on any resolution, if they could give their name and address into the record. And Faye?
Yeah. Hey, Mary, 21 I Street. Just out of curiosity, the one that for the Patalano Foundation, what is that? I've not heard of it.
It's a non-profit organization that's having a raffle, so they are gonna, I think it's at the sawmill, because they're gonna serve alcohol, they need a social affair permit.
Okay, do you know what the Patalano Foundation is?
I don't know specifically what it is. I think it's the Patalano Foundation, doing business as Hand to Hand, I believe, or Hand in Hand.
We don't know what it is or who they are?
Patalano Foundation, Toms River, New Jersey. The organization, Main Street, Toms River, filing. This isn't their website, it's their business site. Let's see.
I mean, they're not using our use of facilities, they're using, they're using Sawmill, but
Right.
because Sawmill is in our jurisdiction and they're nonprofit, they need to have the raffle license. That's kind of like,
Yeah, they need a raffle
yeah, I mean,
and the social affair permit.
No.
I'm just looking to see who they are, but I don't know who owns it.
Hand in hand, doing business hand in hand, okay.
Any other comments on any resolution? Hearing none, I would close that public portion and I'd entertain a motion by council as a consent agenda unless otherwise objected to.
I make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
Second, Governor.
second by Councilmember Rotunda. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes,
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And that concludes the written agenda items. Anyone on council have any other items to bring up or comment upon? Hearing none, I'd go into the audience if there are any public comments. If anyone has any, if they could give their name and address into the record. June?
June Korzeniski, 114 H Street. I'm here tonight as president of the Seaside Park Board of Education. As you know, our school building is deteriorating, and we are very concerned about what's happening with it. Because of this concern, we have had an engineering firm come in and evaluate the school. When we got their report, it was very disheartening. There is a lot of issues with the school building. Because of that, we had come to the council and asked the council if we could meet with the committee to discuss what we could do as a community with this building that we all are in love with. Well, we had 3 meetings, and then nothing came of it. There were no plans made, no suggestions, nothing came of our conversations. So what we did, because this is our building, we hired a law firm that is very involved in these kinds of operations and dealing with buildings and the such. And with their help, we wrote out a proposal that we thought would be good for the entire community. And we offered this proposal. We passed it at a public meeting of the Board of Ed on the 16th of December. And we sent it by mail to all of you. And I do know we have a receipt that the mail was delivered. Now, I have been coming to these meetings for, 12 years that I've lived here. And I do know that I call it, the council is very deliberate in their workings. Some people would call you slow, but I'm going to say deliberate, okay? But this is a significant issue. And our proposal was to give the building to the council, to the municipality, for $1, and let you work on it, because we don't have the money to do the repairs. We are only allowed to use that money for education of the children. But we haven't heard. And it's getting worse and worse. And we need, if not action, at least a response.
I don't know if I can, unless you wanted to respond first, Mayor, I mean, I can
Well, that's fine.
respond.
I certainly
So I attended, I know, 2 of the sessions. One, I think I was at the airport and missed the memo from Beth, so I didn't attend one. So from my perspective, at least, the meetings that I attended, and I think it was myself and Marty and Karen there, I was all ears to hear about it. Maybe one, because I'm a little passionate about the school, because I also served with you on the school board, and I understand the concerns. We did receive the letter, I did, the proposal, and in fairness to say that nothing, happened, we just got it at the holidays. We've only had 1 meeting, which was the reorg, where we established our committees, and now I think it really needs to go to the land use committee, and then also through our legal to understand what would we need to do next, rather than just respond like knee-jerk. I'm in receipt of it, I'm acknowledging I received it. Our reorg meeting was not really a working session meeting, so now that has to be something we address. I mean, that's really, from my perspective, it's only been less than a month since we had it.
It is urgent. It is not something that we can put off.
June, can you answer this question? Excuse me.
Yeah.
If we buy it for a minute, do we control it, or the Board of Education still controls it?
You control it.
We'll control it, so we'll have, excuse me,
Yeah.
we'll have control. The people who want to use the gym come to us instead of you.
That would be something we would work out, I think. But we already have a list, a long list of people that use the building.
Right.
I understand that, but to use the building per se today, they need your permission.
Right.
The Board of Education. If we take it over, they don't need your permission.
No.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I clarified it.
And there were some other conditions that you guys put in there, and
Right.
offers and conditions, but I didn't bring it with me, else I would, read it, unless you have it, you want to send me, it was a short letter, but,
Is it?
yeah.
It's gonna be-
But we will meet to talk about it,
Is it close to being condemned?
no.
No,
Okay.
but it's in need of significant repair.
And one thing, I guess, just to caveat the report from your engineers, a lot of the, and I know this from firsthand, having been there too, a lot of the requirements that are placed on it are because it's still being classified as a non-operating school district. So maybe some of those things would not necessarily need to apply in certain things if you were using it in a different manner in which it's used. But there's pros and cons to changing the classification of buildings, so it needs to be thought out, and
It needs to be
it needs to be discussed, right? And there's some legal things as well. Thank you for
Jim.
bringing it up.
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of council. My name is Lisa Gleason. I'm the superintendent of Seaside Park Elementary School and Lavalette. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk, though much of what I was going to say June has already covered. But I think I can add just a little bit more context and maybe answer some of those questions. I'm going to read off of here so I don't go off track. If that's okay with you. The Seaside Park Elementary School has been a non-operating school district since the 2009-10 school year, at which time it was closed due to low enrollment. But the Board of Education has continued to maintain the school building since that time, using it as a meeting space for board meetings, PTA school functions, and other student-centered activities. Additionally, the Borough Code Office has used office space in Superstorm Sandy. Seaside Park Police Department keeps a workout room in the building as well. And the building is regularly used by community members monthly for a variety of activities, from pickleball to Zumba, Mahjong, canasta, police training, summer marine science camp, and a myriad, a host of other community-based activities. And the school also houses a nicely stocked library for residents to borrow books, puzzles, and games on an honor system. Due to the natural aging of the building, as June said, as well as other impact issues that followed Superstorm Sandy, the board conducted an architectural analysis of the building in June of 2023. We've provided the council a copy of that architectural analysis, and it is extensive, and Councilwoman Condos, you bring up a good point. Some of those issues may not be an issue if it is not related to compliance for an educational facility. But it became apparent that the cost of repairs, maintenance, and monthly upkeep to the building exceeds the purpose of a non-operating school district who has as its sole focus the education of children. We've extensively solicited outside organizations to see if there was interest in leasing the building for educational related purposes. We contacted the YMCA, Stockton University, Kane, Ocean County Vocational Technical Schools, Ocean County College, Montessori Public Works, and other public schools in the area who were involved in major preschool expansion. And unfortunately, we did not find an organization who felt it was a good fit for them at that time. So as you're aware, the Seaside Park Board of Education, following several preliminary discussions with mayor and several members of council and business administrator, drafted a proposal on December 16th to convey the school building and property with the following considerations: that the board would convey ownership, which I think answers the question of Councilman. Those would be then your decisions if the mayor and council and borough took over the building. That would be your building.
Can I interject? Can I ask you a question?
Sure, absolutely.
If we took the building over and we wanted to use it for something else, say some doctor wanted to put an office in there, can we do that?
Well, let me, if I might, let me give you the couple of the items in here that we did put in for consideration and for discussion. The borough would permit the board to utilize the building for board meetings and the use of an office. That the borough would agree that an outdoor community space would be developed on the site, could be where the current playground is now. And that the property would be used for purposes not inconsistent with the outdoor community space. That the borough would permit the PTO to use the building, the outdoor community space for student activities and the building. And in furtherance of the community playground or outdoor space, the board would contribute up to $350,000 for the joint development and usage of the outdoor community space. However, it would be under the sole authority and ownership of the borough. So it's this board's hope that the council will see the usefulness of the school and the property as it serves the community. I recognize that with the holiday that there probably wasn't a lot of time to look at the proposal that was drafted, but we do look forward to continued discussions and answering your questions to see if we can come to a mutually agreeable arrangement. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gleason.
Thank you, Dr. Gleason. And any other comments? Yes, Pat?
Pat Urso, 137 10th Avenue, Seaside Park. I'm here as a representative from the Environmental Committee. The Environmental Committee was established by this council, not for these people, but by the town council. I think Jenna told me in 2010. And the purpose of the Environmental Committee is to educate and advise the community and the council. And at the moment, we are having a little bit of a problem in that the council set it up as a committee of 8. And each year we try to hold educational meetings and events that would bring people in, that would appeal to the people in our community and raise awareness of environmental issues. Right now, we are only 5 members. When it was set up, it is my understanding that the council members would try to find people and appoint people that they thought might be interested in environmental issues and might be willing to contribute their time. We are down to 5 members, and that becomes a problem because you have to have a quorum to meet, and if we're supposed to be 8 people, you have to have 5 there. If we only have 5 and somebody's absent, there's some issues legally. We might be able to get by with a quorum of 4 because we don't have a full complement. But we really would like to have a couple of additional people on our committee. And we're asking the council members to think hard and see if you can come up with the names of a few people who might be willing to join us. I am very happy to be the cheerleader for the committee and explain that it's not hard. It does take a little bit of time, and we are committed to trying to do the tasks that the council put into the, I forget the word, because I'm old.
Bylaws or the public purpose.
But the council developed this committee. And I am asking on behalf of our committee that the council really think hard and try to come up with a couple of people. As you may know, Ray's wife, Liliana, was the chairperson of the committee for a few years. Other people have served for a few years, and then they've done their due diligence, and it's time for someone else. So we would like you all to think for us.
Are there members of it, like, other than those that, I mean, like, like, are there other members, like, that can join, like, proactively join, or they have to be appointed? I wasn't here when it was first established, but they need to be appointed?
They have to be sworn in.
They have to be sworn in, to be honest, so you have to keep it at 8, or could it, I mean, not saying that you should, like, just stick with 5, but I don't want you to feel like you're in violation of something if they're at 5 and we have to appoint
I
at
don't
8.
believe you're in violation of anything, but truthfully,
You want more people
you are
involved.
6
Right.
people on the council.
I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed.
And you
Put it on
all
the
work
website.
very hard for the town, but you were elected and you work very hard. We are all volunteers, not elected, not committed in the same kind of way that people expect their council people to be committed.
Yeah.
But
Understood.
having 8 members we functioned the best when Liliana was in charge, and we had a full 8 members. We only had 7 members this year. and now we're down to 5. And there's only a 2-year term, so, somebody else could say, okay, I've had my term,
Yeah, I understand.
I'm done. So in order to keep the committee going, if you choose that you don't need it, the committee would probably not continue for very much longer, for very many more years. So if you can come up with some suggestions, I would appreciate it, and our whole committee would appreciate it. And I think we've done some good things. We're always trying to think of another kind of a program that we could have. We had excellent participation last year in several of the programs. And the Reclaim the Bay program was very strongly attended. The Butterfly program was strongly attended. The Stargazing program last year was widely attended, and people appreciated it and are learning. We're thinking about pollinating program this year because we know the bees are disappearing, and we'd like people to use the right kind of plants in their gardens. I'm not a gardener, so that's not for me, but I'll help in the program. We were thinking of having someone talk about the watershed. And there's all kinds of information out there, and we just keep trying to find ways to disseminate it. So, sorry, to you guys.
Thank you. Oh, Gina.
Bill actually asked me, do we have to be 80? So we don't have to be 80. You guys, somebody on council came up with that.
Jenna, is there a requirement to live in Seaside Park to be on a committee?
Well, she's looking for that. I was asking Karen if, we could put something out on the webpage, certainly saying, seeking, new committee members and see, what kind of response you get, because you don't want to, tag somebody who feels and they have to, it's asking you want people who are willing and interested in that naturally to participate, so.
Of course, you want people who are willing, and it's only, we all know a group of people in our lives, but you may all know other people and solicit among your peers some person that you think might be interested.
You have to live in Seaside Park.
Yes.
That's one of the requirements.
At least based on those terms.
Yeah, you want them here.
Have a residence, right?
Jenna's research, it is a requirement.
Is a requirement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Mike? Oops, sorry.
Mike Spadafino, 59th Avenue. Two things. One, if this council decides to take the Board of Ed up on their proposal, one of the other things that is a possibility is that you classify it as a property in need of redevelopment, and if you decide to go that way, the option, being that the building does belong to you, is to seek its destruction and redevelopment for other purposes. So that's one thing that nobody talked about you can do with the property if you own it. The second thing is, a few months ago, I submitted to Karen and asked that was a letter saying that I was very willing to serve on any committees that might be available, and asked that you forward it to the mayor. And I got crickets. And it seems that there are other committees that have voids, and I don't want to say that it's a partisan problem, but I love the environment. I'd be very willing to serve on your committee. So John, appoint.
Sign him up. Sign him up, Patty, sign him up. Next meeting, I'll go get you.
Break out the Bible. One of you has to appoint him.
Understood.
Thank you.
Make it bipartisan, and wouldn't that be amazing?
It is.
Yes, Nancy?
Bipartisan.
Yeah.
Nancy Corey, 33 Sixth Avenue. With regard to the beautification committee, it is a council appointment. The mayor has to appoint them. It's an official committee, and I mean, I don't care if you change it, but that's the way it has to be. So maybe Mike can be appointed. My next question and last question is regarding the issue with the school. I do play canasta at the school. I do go to events there. The only thing that I don't think anybody's brought up, and I know that, or at least tonight, and I know that yours didn't have a meeting on it separately since you got the letter, but there's an awful lot of repairs that are required, and it's not going to be required whether it's a school or not a school. I mean, I know there's regulations that are probably in there that belong to the school, if it's a use as a building for that. But I think we're all aware, at least, I haven't been on council in over 6 years, and it needed a new roof then, and it's 6 or 9 years later. So I'm not saying I don't want us to take the school over, I'm just saying we all have to make a decision when it comes to that about how much money you're going to put into that building to make it either a community center or whatever you want to do with it. We all enjoy using it. I would never say that you know, people don't like it, but the vendors you weren't allowed to have the show in there this year. The leaking was in the back, which where we would put the vendors, or some of the vendors. So anyway, I think that that's more of a planning thing, and I think we just have to be careful of how much we're going to put into it or what we're going to do with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Yes, Edie?
Edie Plank, 48 11th Avenue. First of all, I would like to thank the council, the town, for continuing to sponsor the senior luncheons. We just had one yesterday. It's a rousing success. It's a great place for people to come and socialize, which is very important for the stage that many of us are in this life. And I know that, I'm not sure which committee is responsible for getting the speakers. Is that you?
It's the rec committee.
Or it's rec?
It's rec.
Department we don't have.
Well, that's me, it's Joe.
And Joe works hard to get interesting, entertaining, appropriate programs for the lunch. So not only is it a very nice lunch, and it's a nice place to socialize, it's also a place to learn something. Yesterday, we had a speaker from the Ocean County Board of Health. So, thank you for that. Okay, on to my agenda here. The thing I really want to talk about is the 14th Avenue Shore Stabilization Project. And according to an article in the ever resourceful Daniel Nee's Shore Beat, at a recent meeting, which I'm assuming is December, I didn't make those meetings, the council recently voted, and I'm quoting from his article, council recently voted to award a contract to CME to develop plans for this area. So I did a little research. This is now the third time that the council has appointed an engineering firm to produce plans. The first time was back in September of 2021, and that was to RVE for $11,000. The next time was in January of 22, and that was to CME, and I didn't write down what that amount was. I'm concerned that we keep spending money and keep getting plans. Are none of the plans that we've already paid for twice possible? I know there's been some hang-ups in early 24. There was a delay because the NJDEP thought that the CAFRA permit required application for a Tidelands permit within 90 days of approval, blah, blah, blah. But then they figured that we didn't need the Tidelands approval. But yet, the formal program of rehabilitation and stabilization apparently didn't occur because based on the pictures that Mr. Nee had in his article, it looks worse than the last time I looked at it. So my question is, why are we paying yet again for a third set of plans. What happened to the other 2 sets of plans?
Would you like me to answer that, Mayor?
Yes, Council President Wilk.
I happened to see that article, and you look at the article, it says under the article, those photos were taken in 2022. That's number one on those photos, they were taken in 2022, and in December, we did not hire the engineering firm to draw plans, we went out to bid. That's what we did. We already have the permits, we have everything, it's going to be the same project that's been designed. In December, we went out to bid, I believe, for the project.
So you're saying that what he said in the article is wrong?
That is correct.
Again,
Can't believe it, you read, like,
Well, where does, I've asked him where he gets his information, and he claims he gets it from minutes from the meeting.
he watches
He watches the tape, because I've told him on that.
Okay. Council recently voted to award a contract to CME to develop plans.
That's wrong.
Well, who do you want to believe? You want to believe me, or do you want to believe him?
I'm not saying who I
No,
want to
I'm just saying,
believe. My
I'm
question,
telling you what we did.
therefore,
I'm telling you what the council
Okay.
did. We went out to bid for that project.
okay, my question is how do you rein in Daniel Nee then?
We don't have to.
It's the free press.
So I guess.
It's free press.
We have to,
Fact checking is not allowed.
That's why it's free.
okay. I admit it.
Our clerk has a resolution up if you want
It's
to
just that I
reference
had
it
a
in any
proposal,
way.
this last proposal that was approved by council was just for the preparation of bid documents and bid phase services.
Okay.
So we're using the plans, we have the permit. It was thought initially that our public works department could do it, but we can't.
And then the article says that the Public Works is doing it, they are not.
Correct.
They cannot do the project. It's a pretty large project, I'm gonna be honest with you, it is a large project where they may need dewatering, tides weren't right, it was just not practical.
Well, when I read that sentence, I thought, that doesn't make any sense, because way back, I remember there was some discussion that maybe Eric and his staff could do it, and he said, no, they didn't have the staff, or they didn't have the equipment, or whatever. So I questioned whether that statement from Mr. Nee was.
I should have
true.
addressed that was incorrect in there also.
I'm sorry to look at the date for
Yeah.
the pictures.
And the other thing I'd like to say is, we did check every resource possible. We had Earl in there while Earl was doing work, to see if they could do it. We've tried every venue, we went out to bid, and we're starting from that again.
Yeah.
Well,
He
no,
was right about the Earl, he said that it was about $70,000.
Yeah, 77,
It was a little low, it was.
So he was right on that point.
well, I'm just sorry it's had to go on so long that, we spent money that, well, anyway, I'm glad it's gonna be fixed, because that's a horrible.
In the meantime, we dumped a lot of sand there,
Yeah,
in
but-
December.
We dumped some sand there.
Yeah. And which is
Okay.
slowly going away.
which is back to the way it used to be.
Right.
I'm down there, and I know you came the last time, and everybody here can attest, nobody is after this any more than me, is to save those 2 daggone trees that are down there, okay? And I buy there a lot every day, and so we put sand in last time, knowing there was a Band-Aid effect. Now it's pretty much the way it used to be again because of the water. But come down with high water, we're going to get something down there, these gabions and stuff, and do it, and put it there, and those trees should be able to, yeah.
I could tell you, there are people on council who probably monitor that area on the daily, every other day, for what's going on. I'm just telling you.
Okay. No, I'm
We're
glad to
doing our
hear that.
best. It's very frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
And I spoke to the engineer 2 days ago, and he's working on the bid documents, and he hopes to have them out very soon.
Super. As far as Pat's discussion, I have served on the environmental committee. I think it's a valuable committee. I'm glad we're gonna have another member join it. No, believe me, I'm sure you'll be appointed. Well, I hope so. Because they do, their programs are wonderful. My last point is about the school property. I know that Governor Murphy has brought up the issue again of the affordable housing. And I know that towns are being assigned a certain number of units. So here's the thought in my mind. What if you buy the school property for $1 and turn around and sell it to somebody who would develop the affordable housing units that have been assigned to Seaside Park? Just a thought. All kinds of things to think about. Thank you.
Thanks, Edie.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I would close the public portion and entertain a motion from council.
I'll make the motion there.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft. Second by Councilmember Rotunda. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos? Yes. Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Council President Wilson?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And thank